Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew or Stalli111 and welcome back to Season 2 of Stalli's Teabreak. On today's episode we're going to be talking to mah-dry-bread all about his many years of experience on YouTube, along with his recent success in his Pokemon challenge videos. Let's jump right into it. So, mah-dry-bread, how's it going?
I feel like shit and I'm sick. Let's talk about YouTube.
That's a brilliant segue. That is the best segue I could have ever asked for.
Yeah. Well, welcome to a conversation with me.
So yeah, this episode we're talking to mah-dry-bread, who's a YouTube veteran. He's been on YouTube for a while and he's been grinding it out. And I'd say he's a perfect example of someone who grinds it out and gets there. I've done a lot of grinding myself, but I'd definitely say that you've put in your time and you're finally getting what you deserve, pretty much, in regards to exposure and whatnot. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. I just want to talk about in general over the course of this episode, I want to talk about mah-dry-bread's story of YouTube, from his humble beginnings to, well, his huge Pokemon challenge videos that have been blowing up recently, how we met through Shoddycast, and, well, just YouTube in general, how it's changed, because he was on back in like 2007, you started doing like wrestling videos and Warhammer?
No, I started, my very first YouTube videos I ever did were Let's Plays, and I have never stopped. My very first Let's Play would have been a Fallout 1 when I was 17 years old, right. So 10 years ago now. Okay. And that would have been like a couple... now? No, it's unlisted, but you can still watch it in the playlists. Right. I just don't want it to be someone's first impression of me because it was so crap. Yeah. Because it was 10 years ago.
I just looked back and your first videos were on wrestling games and Warhammer 4K.
Yeah,
so I thought that was your humble beginnings.
Those are the oldest things that I don't have unlisted. Right. But you can still watch them in the playlist section. I don't try to hide them. It's just I don't want it to be someone's first impression because they suck. But my very first thing was a Fallout 1 Let's Play, probably like a month before my 18th birthday. So yeah, like a year like 10 years and 4 months ago-ish, something like that. Right.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that you still got it in a playlist, because I'm kind of worried about some of my older videos. I started off on YouTube about 2011, but started Stalli on, I think, midway through. No, it was about May of 2013, I'm pretty sure. And I was still a dumbass kid, and some of the stuff I say is hard. It's cringeworthy.
Not everything is aged well. It was a very different time. Like, totally. Even rewind 5 years, and it was a very different time in how people took things that you say. So if you watch me from 10 years ago, I didn't unlist things because I would have said things that are regrettable now, because I think that anyone who would get mad at me for saying something that's regrettable now 10 years ago is an idiot. And I do not frankly care about their opinion if they're going to judge someone for who they were when they were a 17-year-old and the world was very different. But I unlisted them because they're horrifically shit. They are unwatchably bad.
See, I'm still at a stage of my channel where if I unlist these terrible, terrible videos, I'm going to lose a large portion of my views.
Yeah, whereas I lose nothing.
Unlist it, yeah, like, I mean, you're making those views back instantly.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm still small where that, as soon as they go unlisted, the view count drops in the total views, which I'm a little bit annoyed at. I'd understand if it was private or obviously deleted, but
unlisted not showing up is stupid, because that actually messes with the format of a lot of people's shows. A great example of that is Video Games Awesome, Far From Subtle TV, where for years and years and years what they would do is they would do full streamed Let's Plays, and they were streaming in the very early days of streaming, and about once every few days when they had, a full session, they'd cut it up into like 15-minute chunks and they'd put it all on YouTube. And what they'd do is they have the first episode of the session be public, and then the rest of it would all be in the playlist as unlisted, and you just click the button, or at the time you click the annotations to go through. And if you click on the playlist, it'll have the 150 episodes that might be like a Phoenix Wright game, like a long one. But publicly is just the one video at the beginning of each session to let you know that the rest is there in the playlist so it doesn't spam your feed. That looks really bad on their channel now, because now that they have this system where they don't count unlisted views towards your channel total, when a sponsor were to look at their show, they would think that they have very, very little views for their audience. And it would almost make them look like it's a fake show, like it's got bots subscribed. No, it's just that for a very long time, the vast majority of the views are in videos that were unlisted even when they were new. They've never been public. It's just how their show format is, and it worked for them.
It's a very unique take.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking of videos that are sort of choose your own adventure. Like
there's cool stuff there too.
Yeah.
There's like ARG stuff.
Which, I appreciate too, but, most of them are unlisted because, the mystery of whatever you're going to click onto next, etc.
Yeah. And those died out really hard as well, mostly due to the lack of annotations. That really hurts things.
I still wish we still had annotations.
Yeah.
I understand that, the new systems...
Apparently they didn't work with mobile.
Cleaner. Yeah, that's it. But sometimes annotation... Like, you know how there's the thing in the top right corner?
The card.
I never ever click on that, and I never really notice it, like, doing its little thing appearing out. I feel like it's so useless.
It actually has an incredibly good use that YouTube doesn't tell you. Let me drop some YouTuber knowledge on everybody. So every aspiring YouTuber right now listening to this is incredibly helpful information. So this is something I like to do, by the way, is I like to teach people, including things that most YouTubers don't try to teach other people because they found it out and they want to use it to get an advantage. I think a rising tide raises all ships. I want competition. I want people to try to do better than me, and I want to see other people succeed. This is why I tell people doing Pokemon challenges, literally do the same challenge as me if you want. I don't care. You're not ripping me off. You're doing your own thing, and if you get in my suggested videos, that might be your big break. That's fine with me. So here's a tip. Cards almost never get clicked. No one notices cards. No one cares about cards. For anyone who doesn't know what a card is, it's a thing that occasionally appears in the top right and it'll have a link to something. You may have seen 1,000 of them and never even noticed that they're there because they're stupid. However, you can have up to 5 cards.
Can I guess what it is?
Guess.
Just, is it that because you actually put in the card data into the algorithm, it thinks that you are slightly of more importance?
Not quite, but similar.
Right.
What it is the metadata of the cards gets inserted into your suggested videos. This means if you were to put 5 cards to your own videos, those 5 videos are way more likely to be the top of the suggested video section than what would have normally been there. And the suggested video section does get clicked. Constantly, very actively. It's the most clicked thing on the page is suggested videos. So having yours at the top of that makes it much more likely for people to binge watch you. That's why you do 5 cards to your own stuff on big videos. Not because people are going to click the cards. They won't. It's because they're going to see it in the suggested videos and click it there.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I've literally only ever heard one other YouTuber publicly acknowledge this kind of open secret. And I really wish people would talk about this stuff more often because so many small YouTubers that are starting off would find this information incredibly useful.
Well, since my reboot, I'm basically a new YouTuber. So
yeah, there you go. Start doing that. Go through all your old videos, link 5 other ones in the tags. It will help, like a lot. It'll cause binge watching of your channel.
See, most of my older videos I'm not really caring too much about. They're just really there as there's my history, there's where I've been, and the reboot is what I'm just focusing on my new content. It's in a different direction. It's higher quality. It's better in every regard, I'd say, and the ideas that I've got coming out soon are relatively unique, whereas my old content wasn't very unique. But I I want to keep my videos up because it's a history. You know, it showcases that I've done the grind a little bit. You know, I've been here for years and years and years, uploading crap, developing myself, my skills, and finally making something decent, I think.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. I think that viewers can appreciate that. For as many comments as I've gotten on people who come in from Pokemon challenges and they watch my other Let's Play videos, and they're like, oh, this Let's Play video barely got 1,000 views, and you have, like, I'm very close to 200,000 subscribers, and they're like, oh, this channel's dead. And it's like, no, I get millions of views every month. But for every time I get someone who's like that and they're just being bitter about it, or being upset about it, or they're upset that there's stuff in their feed that they're not interested in, or there's some reason they have a grievance with it, I get more people who just come in the comments and they either say, like, I really like this Let's Play, I never would have had any idea about this game or about how good your Let's Plays were if not for coming in from the Pokemon Challenge, and that's very flattering. But also people who come in and say that, I'm losing my train of thought slightly. Sorry, this happens a lot. People who come in comments, they found the thing through that. Oh, people who say that they find it really admirable that I started with Let's Play. I've literally never stopped Let's Play. I've even stopped other more popular series because I wasn't as into them, but I've always loved Let's Play, and so I never stopped doing Let's Play. And that they feel like I'm a lot more genuine than a lot of YouTubers, because when I got popular, I finally had a major success instead of all the little successes I had over the years. I didn't drop what made my channel my channel. I have still, for these last few months, the Pokemon challenges that have gotten me so popular are still a sideshow that I do once a week on Sunday. And that's a lot of work that goes into them. And then I also do the 15 other videos a week of Let's Play stuff. Like, I am a machine. I do not get burnt out on things because I'm passionate about them. I'm a very passionate individual, as I'm sure that you can tell from our conversations off recording, that I can ramble about anything because I'm very, very passionate about things.
I mean, it is very admirable. Like, I don't think I've got anything like that. Sure, I've had some consistencies with, Fallout, open world games and stuff like that, but the content I'm going into, the only real relation to my old content would be my personality, my voice, and perhaps the occasional mention of an open world game. But it's a dangerous game what I'm playing. I'm going into something completely different, talking about film, converging with video games and music, and trying to create a totally immersive experience rather than here's some news about Kingdom Come Deliverance, or here's a first impressions video, or here's the tech, something like that. It's a totally new thing for me, and it's very scary, but I don't really have too much linkage, but I do think this is the right decision. I've got little successes, but I think this is because nobody else has done it on YouTube. I think this is Stalli 111's thing. That will be my channel, the convergence of media guy, the guy who creates these ideas of immersion around specific topics, and hopefully that's still the case. If not, oh well. But I'm having fun writing these ideas and getting a bit creative. Speaking of creative, what exactly was the reason that you got into doing YouTube videos? Obviously, you mentioned that you did streaming early on too, but what was the reason that why YouTube? Why did you just suddenly think I'm going to make some videos? What was sort of the inspiration, basically?
Okay, real quick before I forget, just because you said that I was streaming early. We actually talked about that a little bit off stream or off podcast, so I just want to make sure I say it on podcast before I go forgetting. I've been streaming since before Twitch TV existed. I was streaming on Ustream and Justin TV with Adobe Live Flash Encoder, which is terrible software. I was streaming SWAT 4 Sketchcov Syndicate amongst a few other things like Temple of Elemental Evil, the really old Interplay, I believe, first edition or second edition, probably second edition D&D game. Lots of weird little things. But YouTube I did before even streaming. And what got me into YouTube, there's a long answer version that would go on for over an hour, and there's a short answer version. I'll try and give you the short one. I just watched a lot of YouTubers in elementary and high school. I really, really loved YouTube. I've always loved video creation. I was editing video in high school because of having a course in it, and so I kept taking courses in it because I enjoyed it so much. I would watch for Let's Play. My favorite guy back then was Deceased Crab, he's kind of cited as the first video let's player on YouTube specifically, when most of them would do it on Google Video back in the day because the quality was higher on Google Video. But on early YouTube, it used Flash so everyone could watch it. You didn't need to install a plugin for it because everyone already had Flash. I also watched a lot of reviewers. I watched a lot of the people on thatguywiththeglasses.com back when that was relevant. I watched that for many, many years. I watched a lot of the Spoony one back when he was not an insane person. He was great. Don't go Google him anymore unless you're just watching old compilations of his videos, because those are great. Don't check his Twitter. So there's a lot of people that I was a big fan of back in the day, and it just made me want to try these things. And so I tried Let's Play and ended up having a lot of fun with it. That was very natural to me because I've always been a person who can never run out of things to talk about, especially about something I'm passionate about, like video games that I love. And so Let's Play has always been totally natural to me. Streaming has always been totally natural to me. I've always been a public speaking presenter type guy. And so, and I had that background in video editing and in being on camera for student films in high school and being in a recording booth. I had spent time in a recording booth, so I was already kind of comfortable with a microphone. And so everything just kind of came together naturally. And I just started doing video after video after video for so long, all these different Let's Plays. A year and a half, 2 years in, something like that. When I passed 100 subscribers, which took a couple years, back in those days, 100 was a lot more than it is now, obviously. But even by the time I had 100 really was nothing. I'm not early days YouTube or anything. But when I was starting to do my Dawn of War Let's Plays, which is Warhammer 40k Dawn of War. This was the first game and the expansions for it. I started Let's Playing those. They haven't aged well. Those Let's Plays suck too, but they were the first ones to start picking up views. And by that, I mean, instead of 5 or 10 views and 2 comments across the whole Let's Play, they would get 50 views, and that was considered an accomplishment in Let's Play back then if you were a smaller Let's Player like I was, and I passed 100 subscribers and stuff, and that was really big. Those Let's Plays are still, to this day, I believe, some of the top results for if you search up Dawn of War Let's Plays for the original Dawn of War games. You'd find my Soulstorm one and my Winter Assault one both did well. They have a few 100,000 views on episode 1, and they're unwatchably bad. The game volume is way too loud and my commentary sucks and I'm complaining and eating chips. It's horrible.
From a different era.
It is from an era where that was way more normal. This was at a time when the production value of Let's Play was so bad that I was considered to be a good quality Let's Player because I didn't point a camcorder at my screen. I used software in my computer to record it. That was considered above average. There were major Let's Players who were highly watched for the time who would record their Let's Plays by having an emulator on screen in a window and then a camcorder pointed at their screen. And they didn't even full screen the emulator. And they'd be playing it like that with their keyboard clacking away. They don't have a controller for it. And the audio is entirely their speakers and their voice getting picked up by the microphone that's in the camcorder with all the background hiss they don't get rid of and all of that. That was
Horrid.
normal back then, and it's atrocious by today's standards. Like, you would not watch that for 10 seconds now because that is so bad. So I was considered a high quality Let's Player considering how incredibly small I was.
See, when I first started YouTube in 2011 on a different channel, I can totally relate to that because I'd play whatever I was playing on my Xbox. I'd film on my iPod Touch in my left hand, and I'd play on the controller with my right hand.
Yep.
So it is like so janky because I'm trying to play the game with one hand and hold the camera steady and do commentary. I eventually invested in some books to stack up and film it with. But Jesus Christ, those videos are awful. And guess what? They're vertical video too.
And the funny thing is about those days of YouTube is that nowadays that still gets uploaded from like India and no one watches it. Back in those days, those videos of that horrible quality, some people would watch it and you would get comments. And the comments were usually terrible, but there were people who would watch the video all the way through and attempt to watch the gameplay and then complain about it in the comments. Like, they would be complaining about it in the comments because they actually really did try to watch it. And that's mind-boggling because nowadays, no one would try to watch that. You know, so, back in those days, there weren't even thumbnails yet. Like, there were thumbnails, but you didn't pick them.
When did thumbnails, when did custom thumbnails come?
Custom thumbnails was... You could probably track the year by looking at early Smosh. Because the first big thumbnail trend was neon backgrounds, almost always teal or yellow, and boobs. Like, in a bra, but just boobs. Because they didn't really have any rules about what you can put in the thumbnail about like misleading people, or like the titles would just be wrong.
Boobs in the thumbnail equals views.
Exactly, that was a thing back then. And the thing is, clickbait worked really well back then because it was before they even had watch time as a metric, and so it was just based on views. So they, as long as they got the click, you'd be promoted. So like the homepage would be a few young creators up and coming, and then just like a lot of neon boobs.
I remember when I first started out, I watched a couple of videos that was like how to grow your channel and whatnot, and I'm pretty sure one of the suggestions was, just clickbait, just like put some dumbass stuff in the thumbnail. Like, okay,
the thing was,
they're
I
actually
never
recommending it as a. No, I never did either, but like, it was a proper point that lots of people were watching these how-to videos. Yeah, it totally would.
Like, there's still ways to game the system. There will always be ways to game the system, but back then it was astonishingly easy. Like, easy peasy. Like, nowadays you need to actually invest in a little bit of software to have, like, Elsa versus Spider-Man gives birth, whatever. Although they've cracked down on that finally.
That was more like 2 years ago that was a horrible trend.
That was a weird one. Although the kids channel trend stuff of, like, the kid channels that probably shouldn't be recommended to anyone, that's still around. That's not totally gone yet, but they've cracked down on it pretty hard.
Well, with talking about the like older YouTube, how would you say that the changes of YouTube have like made you adapt as a creator? Because I know I've definitely changed personally, but like
I
yourself?
Never did. So this is something about me being stubborn. I am unapologetically me. I have always been MDB. Like, it's a username, sure, but it was my nickname in high school, and like this is who I have always been. I am always me, and I refuse to compromise. And so I usually don't even do things that would get me popular. The Pokemon challenges, I predicted that it would get big, although I under-predicted how big it would get. But I didn't do it because it would get me big. I did it because of the same reason that you've seen me start every series that I've ever started over the many, many years. It's some combination of me seeing a video and thinking, I could do this better, and I'm stubborn, and so I do it. Or me just saying that looks really, really fun. So an example would be My first series that was really consistently really popular was creepypasta readings of mostly Pokemon creepypasta. I did that for like 126 episodes or something, just a Sunday show every Sunday. And the majority of what I did was Let's Play. So even back, that was probably 2011 or 2012. Even back then, I was doing the same thing that I'm doing now of Let's play. One little sideshow that happens to be popular, and everyone's like, why don't you just do the popular thing more? And I'm like, no, fuck you. I'm doing Let's Play. It's fun.
Yeah.
I have always been me. And so what it is with that, it was, I saw a bunch of creepypasta readings back then, and I'm like, a lot of these suck. I could do this better, so I did it. And then with this, it's with the Pokemon Challenge, I saw some that I really, really liked, and I was like, this is really cool. I want to try this. Like, I grew up playing, I used to beat Pokemon all the time as a kid just for fun. Like, man, I haven't played Pokemon Blue in forever. What if I just go try and do that? That'd be a fun video to work on. And it's just like me creatively stretching my legs, which is something I do every year. I try a new format of video that I've never done as a side thing just to see if I like it. And usually they don't succeed, but that's okay. I'm doing it to become more well-rounded as a content creator and to have fun. That's why I started doing tutorials, and some of those got very big. I've got the top tutorial on YouTube for Crusader Kings 2, and I believe for Hearts of Iron 4 as well. So whenever those go on sale, a lot of people see that, although I think someone's usurped me on one of those, but that's okay.
Or at least when I check, when I was looking to learn Crusader Kings 2,
you found me, yeah. Like, that's the thing, is I am good at descriptions and tagging. That has always been a really, really strong point of mine.
I used to be really good before Shoddycast. I knew how to get it down because I was the top for Kingdom Come Deliverance and Mountain Blade. And slowly the bigger channels jumped on the bandwagon of the games. And
I tried to teach them tagging, by the way. They just didn't listen.
Right.
That's the thing, is they don't want to listen to I think it might have been partly a thing of, why would we listen to this little channel, like one of those things. The thing is, my channel has always punched above its weight by a lot. Like,
see, that's the same with mine, because like I take it you're talking about Shoddycast. You tried to teach.
Yeah, I did try to teach them. This was very early when I wasn't even in Shoddycast yet, but I was applying for, because I had an especially long period of time when my resume was being applied.
I remember watching your video. I remember watching your videos. Oh, he didn't get it, and then like 3 months later or something, the video goes up.
Yeah, I was just pestering them a bunch, basically trying to talk to them, but being really polite. And so I'm sure people are going to wonder about Shoddycast. If you've seen Shoddycast now, Shoddycast has gone through all these tumultuous times. I came in at the worst possible time. I came into Shoddycast basically as the creator of Shoddycast. I'm not going to say too much private stuff, just because I'm just going to say whatever's public, basically. Because as much as probably I know a lot of people from Shoddycast do not like the previous owner, which is Josh. That's public information that the old owner was Josh. A lot of people didn't get along with him. I actually really liked Josh, and Josh really liked me.
I don't know if didn't get along with. I think there was just some problems behind the scenes that, well, maybe not problems per se, but
frustration, severe frustration. I've had former Shoddycast members come to me and tell me that they hated him. Like, I'll say that much.
Right, okay.
I won't say...
I would never say I hated him as a person. Yeah. I disliked some of the way he conducted business, because he wasn't passionate about it. He never prioritized Shoddycast. In the end.
And that's the thing, is when I came in is when it seems like he lost his passion. And that's the thing, is I talked to him, and the thing is, he was very candid to me about that when we had the talk when I was getting released. The thing is, as far as I know, most people who were released by Shoddycast were never told, but he went out of his way to tell me, and specifically to organize a call with me so we could talk about it. After, like, he let me know what was happening, and he specifically wanted to do a Skype call with me to talk to me about it. Because I don't know if I just have a winning personality or something, but I only ever had 2 calls with him. It was one call early when I wanted to pitch all these ideas and to him about live streaming, about I wanted us as a group, as Shoddycast, to be a hidden boots, a normal boots, a hidden block, a game station. I wanted us to be a group of guys where you don't just think about us the once a month when a video goes up. This is, you say to your group of friends on Discord, did you see did you catch the Shoddycast stream last night? They were all playing Mario Party and like, oh my god, you should have seen Austin's face when MDB randomly got a star from that blue block, or like, like I wanted us to be this group of people that branched out a little bit more, did routine live streams. I said I could head up the live streams because I had contacts and like I have all this experience live streaming. I don't mind taking the brunt of that. I had all these ideas, and he actually really liked the ideas when I was in a call with him. But I think the impression I got, and I don't want to go putting words in his mouth, because he was very candid about when I was getting released about how he's not as passionate about it anymore, and about how he was basically downsizing. He said he wanted to work more on his business and his personal life because he's a business owner outside of Shoddycast.
And he owns a sports business.
Yeah, it's like a day camp sports business. He's got a few things. And so he's a philanthropist and he's a hard worker. And so he wanted to focus more on those other parts of his life. And I respect that. But he was basically releasing nearly everybody but the people working on the movie. And then, of course, that never came to be. And eventually he sold Shoddycast to Austin. And, Austin came back to it during that. Like, I was joining as Austin was going. And he
recently uploaded a video, by the way.
Yeah, I did see. I haven't seen the video yet, though. But I've never spoken with Austin. I've tried before, and he never responded. Before anyone goes thinking that there's, like, bad blood between us, I'm going to say 99% chance no. There's a 1% chance that he could be bitter at me, because whenever a new person got added after Austin left, everyone would say, it's not the science. This isn't as good as the science. But did you see that the reactions to my video was almost unanimously, if this guy's replacing Austin, I'm okay with that. That's a comment that kept coming up over and over and over. People actually really liked me in that one little video I did. And I actually had another video completed that just never made air, even though I emailed it in like a month before I got released. Like, I was pestering them like, hey, when's it going up, guys? Like, I'm excited for this one, to the point that I actually did a Franken re-edited of it and put it on my channel and ad-libbed over the entire ending where I was promoting their Patreon and everything just by talking about like, hey everybody, this is a re-edit of my video. It's really great. It's I think it's like a top... it's a list. It's a tier list of all the companions in Fallout 4. It's actually kind of a popular video now. But the entire outro of that video is hysterical. Because like I made it while I was at Shoddycast, so I had to redo the whole ending because the whole ending was a promo for Shoddycast.
I didn't even bother re-editing my ending. Like, it still says like at Shoddycast, because I had a couple of videos that didn't make it to Shoddycast. And
same
I just put them up on my channel, and the end still says their Twitter handle, and it's like, hey, check out this other video. And it's like another hidden history video, another video that I did.
Yeah.
But it's, it's another channel. But yeah.
Yeah, all I did was ad-lib over the old ending. It was really funny.
I know how you said everyone got released. I technically didn't get released. I stopped the series, the tech, because I was getting pushed into a little bit of backed into a little bit of a corner, because Josh only really wanted to follow in Elder Scrolls content.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, like, I wanted the tech to be, it could be about anything, to talk about the technology within video games and see if they are possible, if they could become a reality, or they already are, in some Frankenstein way. But, like, it was inconsistent with the views. Some videos would get 100,000, some videos would get 400,000. Like the one on Power Armor's at like 750,000, whereas the Batman one's like 180,000. Yeah. So obviously he wants more Fallout, but there's only so much you can do with Fallout.
Yeah.
And Elder Scrolls, I did like the only tech video, and it was pushing it, which was on the magic, and it was like, can you make magic with technology today? And it was really pushing. Really struggling with that. But yeah, that's how I ended at Shoddycast. I was thinking of maybe pitching another show, but then well, everything.
It felt like the wheels were falling off the wagon at the end. I think it was pretty clear to everybody on the inside that communication was really poor. Before I was even hired, I made a Trello page specifically for Shoddycast to help everybody be organized in what everyone else is doing. And I told him about it. I'm like, we can start using this. Like, I pitched so much to help communication. I pitched so much to help with every little thing in the world. And I was willing to take on all that responsibility. And he liked the ideas. But it came across to me as a thing of, he was very passionate about it when he was talking to me about it because I'm a passionate guy and he was getting amped up by it. But at the end of the day, when he's alone, he's like, I'm just not feeling it anymore, you know? Yeah. Like he doesn't have that, and that his heart wasn't in it anymore, and that's okay. Like, that's the thing is, when people see a channel fail, and I don't necessarily want to say that Shoddycast as a whole failed. It's still going strong right now in a very different way. But Josh did start and do some more Fallout videos, and he did really well. He did do very well, yeah.
Like, some of them, I think, got over 1 million.
Yeah.
But he just didn't... Well, actually, right, I've actually got some insider information. He did a video on cars within Fallout, and he didn't really care too much about the video. And it got, like, over 1 million views. Mm-hmm. And then he did a video that he was really passionate about, which was his last ever video that only got 300,000. Well, it's sitting at 300,000 at the moment. But the fact that something that he was really passionate about just did so much less than something he just put together because he felt like he had to, really bummed him out.
And that's a very common YouTuber issue too. Yep. Because you don't choose what the audience wants. That's happened
to me so many times.
Yeah, it happens to me all the time. I think my Let's Plays are better than my Pokemon challenges. I still really enjoy my Pokemon challenges, thank God, because I work on them so hard. It would suck if I hated them. If I hated them, I'd stop doing them. I stopped doing my Pokemon Creepypasta when they were still popular. But
see, for me, I'm worried because I'm putting much more effort into the videos that I'm releasing. Well, I've not released in a little bit, but I'm doing at the moment since the reboot, compared to I did Let's Plays before, and they basically took no effort at all because I barely edited them. Mm-hmm. And they've got more views than all of my reboot videos put together, some of them. Like, it's kind of frustrating that a video that I did when I was like 13, 14, did no editing really for, has got like 50,000 views, and a video that I spent a whole week on has got like 200. It's disheartening.
I don't blame him at all.
It is the grind. It is the grind.
Yeah.
You got to get past that if you are going to be able to. Like, I've tried so many times to come back since Shoddycast on Stalli 111, but I've just not had the passion.
Yeah.
But I think I'm in that right mind now. I've got ideas that I want to do, and I think I can do it. I think I can even just get like a few thousand people. I will be very happy with that.
Yeah,
very happy.
But that whole problem is why I don't blame Josh for losing his passion for it. I do blame him for the poor communication. Communication was really, really poor in Shoddycast by the time that I got there. My application process took so long because they were taking so long to fucking watch it, as far as I could tell, which is mind-boggling to me. That it was a 4-minute video. It's so short. Like, it was 4 minutes, I think. I might be misremembering because it was a few years ago, but it was well under 10.
I only saw the one that was about the gunplay.
That's the only one they released. I made them multiple videos. Yeah. I sent them multiple videos, even though they liked them.
One? What was the one that like you auditioned with?
That one. That was my audition video. Oh, okay. The gunplay one. That's how I sent it to them like 3 months before it went up, I think.
Yeah. I saw it. So I got sent it to view and comment on.
Yeah.
And I saw it when it got sent out, when you sent it to them. So they must have seen it.
No, I know Austin saw it. That's the thing, is Austin said he liked it. That's what I heard internally. And Bob, the whole reason I applied to Shoddycast was because Bob worked there. He had just gotten in there. I didn't realize there was an application page, and I thought it seemed like the kind of thing I'd have fun with. And I was friends with Bob. I still am. Bob Wolf of the Wolf Den, for anyone wondering.
Yeah, good guy.
And I stream with him all the time. He's awesome. I just bought a used camera off him a few days ago, actually. Nice. So I've got Bob stickers all over my desk because he threw them in there. And he threw in a TwitchCon card that he just wrote "fuck you" on and put that in the box. Thanks, Bob. So
love you, Bob.
I applied to it through that, and I believe Bob said that he was sent the video as well, and obviously he said that he liked it, and it's public information. When I applied, I flat out said, I'm friends with Bob, we work together. I made it very, very clear that we work together already, and this is part of my interest of applying, but also that I have this big history with Fallout. It was literally my first Let's Play, and so I obviously am passionate about Fallout and about the Elder Scrolls. Those are two things I like a lot, and so I pitched a lot of things. Eventually, so this is the big thing that I drove home to Josh on why I'm a good person to hire. Because consistency, which you can see now from the Pokemon challenges I kept good on, is consistency, work ethic, and I'm really fast. So when I was talking originally with his brother, and I pitched him. He wanted video pitches, so I pitched 5 video ideas that I thought of on the spot, and the one that he liked the idea of was an editorial video on the gunplay in Fallout, in the Fallout franchise, which at the time was Fallout 4 out yet? I don't remember. It was on Fallout 3.
Fallout 4 was out.
Did I include Fallout 4 in it? I don't even remember now.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, the one that I saw, because it was about, I remember you talking about how id Software were brought in to rejuvenate
So the evolution of the gunplay in the series, and editorial on that is one of the 5 things I thought of on the spot. A few hours later, they email back, and they give the reasoning for why they're not as interested in a few of the things. I gave some Fallout, some non-Fallout things of different editorial videos I can make, like my thoughts. One of them, for instance, was my thoughts on the magic system in Fable: The Lost Chapters. And
good video.
That would have been a great video. It's the magic system.
I love Fable.
Love that game. It's one of my favorites. Fable: The Lost Chapters. Yeah. But the magic system of that game, and why it disincentivizes using magic in weird ways, and how you could have built that system better, because it kind of de-incentivizes
that video.
I know I should at some point, because it would be fun to. No one would watch it, but it'd be fun. But
well, actually, you say that I did my my audition was a Fable lore video.
Nice,
because Shoddycast were all about lore. I did one all about the backstory of Lucian Fairfax.
Yeah, and that game's full of books and stuff. It's really interesting. If you're into like the books in Skyrim, you'll be into the books in Fable.
I released it on the channel that this is going up on, my second channel.
Nice.
And it's got like 3,000 views or something. Like a game that's
awesome.
Like not really in any search results, because they're no longer doing Fable games.
I had the top search result for Fable: The Lost Chapters for 6 years, I think.
Nice. When Fable Legends was a thing, I did a video on what I want out of it, and it was very high up as well. I think it was like 3rd, and that was up against the big dogs as well. It ended
Roman
up getting
Reigns?
like. Oh yeah.
Gotta make Roman look strong. Come on.
Yeah.
Sorry, shit wrestling joke, everybody. It's okay.
Hey, I get that reference.
Yeah. Okay. You need to watch my Pokemon challenges, because I squeeze at least one wrestling reference in every single episode. A lot of them are very obscure. Some of them aren't. Just enjoy. For anyone wondering, because a lot of people thought this was like, when I did Plusle and Mine and Only, a lot of people thought I was referencing like some sitcom, some American sitcom I don't remember the name of. No, I named my Plusle and Mine in Doug and Danny. Do you know who I'm referencing?
Doug and Danny.
And I went on a big rant about how Doug is way better than Danny, and everybody knows it. And then I said, like, if you don't get the reference, like 1% of you will get it. Look for their comments. That's your own challenge. The Basham Brothers, mid-2000s SmackDown.
See, I wasn't into wrestling then.
There you go. The Basham Brothers. You got to go look them up. They were great. They were very forgettable to a lot of people, but when you look back at them, it's one of those things where it's like, man, why were they not popular back then? They were great.
I only got into wrestling because of some of my college friends. And I came on late on. I didn't really see the appeal of it when I was younger. Just some guys going ham on each other. But some of the
it's live action shown in anime. It's amazing.
Some of it is absolutely awful, but some of it is brilliant.
That's the thing is when wrestling is terrible, it's hilarious, and when wrestling is amazing, it's an art form you've never seen before. I've talked for hours and hours and hours on my show about how I love wrestling, and I've gotten so many people to give wrestling a try and watch wrestling. It's wonderful, but that is probably not what this podcast is about. No. I came in at Shoddycast at the worst possible time when everything was basically falling apart. But something that I want to really press home to the viewers is, I guess the listeners in this case, is that often when a channel falls apart, people assume the worst. People assume that there's scumbags running away with money. People assume stuff like that. It wasn't. It's not that Josh handled everything completely perfectly and it fell apart by powers outside of his hands. No, it's really a story about a guy who has too much on his plate, and he slowly lost his passion for something as it became more and more and more of a job, and he didn't want it to be that anymore, and he decided to slowly step away. It's not as dramatic as people want it to be. There were frustrations mounting, there was jobs that weren't getting done like they should have. It was a guy wanting this to be his pet project again, and eventually he decided it's not that anymore, and he sold it to a former member. And so when he called me and he wanted to talk to me, we talked for hours about every little thing in the world, laughing about everything. We talked about politics, talked about video games, talked about everything, because we just get along. And he's a great
guy to just talk to.
Yeah,
I remember
he's a genuinely good person. I like him.
We end up forgetting about talking about ideas, and we just talk about random crap.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is some people really don't like him. For some reason, they have this idea that he's some kind of scumbag, and I truly do not understand it when I see that, because as someone who knows him personally, who has spoken to him privately many times, I have no reason to say anything nice about. He fired me before Christmas, like right after I made a big purchase, because that's how the timing worked out. I should be angry at him, but I'm not, because I understand where he's coming from, and I think he's genuinely a really good person, and so I did not hold it against him at all. And you know what he did for me in that call? It turns out he wanted to call me because on his way out, he wanted to set me up with another channel because he thought my work was so good that he didn't want this to hurt my career. And so he put in a massively good word for me. This is the first person he's ever done this with. He contacted Fudge Muppet, who also does Bethesda stuff, and put in a good word for me and said, you gotta get this guy to do some of your editing or something, because he's so efficient and he's good, and just give him a try. And they gave me a try, and they were happy with my work. And so I've done a little bit of off and on work for Fudge Muppet over the years. It's been a couple years, but it's mostly just because it's always been a thing of contact us if you have an idea and we'll try to work it out. But it was always very difficult because communication with them is very, very slow. Part of it is there are a bunch of guys in Australia. Time zone differences are very severe between that and Canada. And the other part of it is they are 3 ridiculously busy human beings. It was always incredibly difficult to get a conversation going with any of them. One of them I never talked to. I never talked to Scott. Michael, I would mostly email with. But it was slow getting emails back and forth because we're both very busy people, especially them. I'm more busy now. They were very busy then, and I'm sure they're crazy busy now with Outer Worlds because I know they're covering that. And I talked with Drew a few times, and he is a hysterical human being, but he will respond to your Twitter messages once a year. No joke. And every time he responds, he's like, man, I can't wait for us to do something together. And I'm like, yeah, let's play some Far Cry together or something. It should be fun. And then I don't hear from him for 1 year because he is busy, and he is the worst guy in the world at checking a message and thinking, I'm going to get back to this later. And then he gets back to it a year later, and he's like, dude, I'm so sorry. I checked it. I forgot to get back to. He's one of those people, which I'm guilty of that a little bit, so I can't hold it against them. Again, that's another thing of like, I don't really do anything with them anymore. I probably could email them today with an idea and they'd be like, hell yeah, write us a script. And they'd be up for it. I actually wrote a few scripts for them and I did a little bit of editing for them. But again, it's just a group of 3 really, really good people who are working really hard. And so that's just another thing of not every time that some YouTubers stop working together means that something went wrong. Nothing went wrong. Just schedules don't match up and whatever. I think they're all awesome dudes and they seem to get along with me just fine. I mean, we had like the same sense of humor, so that really helped.
Yeah, definitely. Like the chemistry is sort of usually down to humor.
We both have old internet senses of humor. We still both make jokes that would probably get us canceled now, but we just do it. Because for them it's because they're Australian, and for me it's because I'm stubborn.
So obviously we've already spoken a little bit about your Pokemon challenges, but obviously, you know, I've got to talk about it a little bit more because it's become such a big thing on your channel. You've spoken about how you sort of knew that it was going to be relatively big. So
I can tell you right now exactly what I told everybody before when I was working on the first one.
Well, I'd like to know, like, how did you come to that prediction, and like, do you think you know why?
Right was that? Yeah, I know exactly why it happened. See, this is the thing, is like, again, I've tried to give advice to so many channels before, and a lot of them don't listen because they're like, oh, this little channel that gets a couple hundred views on his daily Let's Play videos, why would I listen to him? It's because I know my shit. I don't take my own advice on a lot of things just because I always have the integrity of the channel as the main thing. But when I see a channel that the advice I can give is more relevant to them than it is to me, then I'll give them that information because they could use that to help their careers and help them feed their families, you know? Like, buy a home, live comfortably. I want to see other YouTubers succeed. And so a lot of them wouldn't really take my advice seriously. The ones that did really well. Now, that's not just because I gave them advice. That's because of their own hard work. When I met Bob, he had a smaller channel than me. Now his is much bigger than me, and now mine is getting more views and growing faster than his again. We've seesawed because we've both really taken off, and we've both worked very, very hard for a long time. But Bob listened to me. That's the thing. Most of his success is thanks to himself, but I've given little bits of advice here and there that he's definitely taken, just like he gave me bits of advice that I've definitely taken and have definitely helped, because it's good YouTubers working together.
Yeah, like of course, his quality, like, he makes good quality content.
Very good,
like,
yes.
One of the best out there. And without that, he might not have grown to what he is.
Absolutely.
He might have still grown a fair bit, but without quality, I feel... I mean, I say that. I was speaking to one of my friends earlier today, and we were watching some proper crap content. Like, it was garbage, and it was still getting loads of views. So I don't really know I don't understand YouTube.
Well, but, I can usually clear those things up.
From my perspective, like, as a viewer, if something is quality and, you know, there is passion behind it, I'll give it a try. And if there is something meaningful that relates to me or something that I'm looking for, I will stick around. Mm-hmm. But if there's not that quality there, even if it's just a lot of passion, something in 2019, you need to have some level of quality.
For me, I can stick for passion as long as the quality isn't horrendous.
Yes. But, like, when I'm talking about like proper trash, I'm talking about like humor from 2012 passing off today, and it's
that can work for me still. I think 2012 was a real golden era of YouTube, honestly.
It was back when I was in high school, but
it depends on the channel, though. Everyone's got a different sense of humor, and everybody told different jokes in 2012.
Totally true.
Like, some of my favorite stuff to rewatch was in 2012. It was video games, awesome stuff from 2012 was a real golden year for them. But their sense of humor is one that I particularly like, and it never really has changed massively over the years. And so that's just them. That's that friend group and how they talk, not necessarily indicative of 2012. So if you want to know how the video succeeded and how I knew that they would in the exact way that I would, it was me piecing together a whole bunch of information that I've learned over the years of 1,000 different little places and things. But here's the most concise way that I can say it. One of my times I decided to stretch out my legs was I started a series called 7 Great Tips to Improve At. And I would do a tips video. And the thing that made mine unique is that, one, I knew what the fuck I was doing. I had researched them really heavily. Most people don't. And two,
no, they don't.
I would do it about games, and I would do the tips as fast as I could while still being in-depth and informative without wasting anyone's time. So I would have videos like 7 Great Tips to Improve at Civilization 4 Colonization. That is 7 tips in 3.5 minutes. And they are very, very valuable tips that people have told me have helped them beat the game. Because that's one of those games where you can beat it or you can't beat it. There's a lot the game doesn't teach you properly, and it's a very good game, but
there's a lot of self-learning.
There is a massive hurdle to be able to beat the final war of the game. There's a lot that's not intuitive. You pretty much need to watch a Let's Play, which is why my Let's Play of it is also very big on YouTube for the very niche audience that watches that game, which is very few people. But I was playing that game last week. I still play that game. It's great. So I made them, and I made them short and informative. And at the time that I was making them, it's just, maybe this will get in some suggestive videos, maybe they won't, but they're fun. The first one I ever made was on Civilization 6 Rise and Fall, which was the newest expansion at the time. Yeah. I did 7 tips. I'd played a lot of that game. I've been playing the franchise for a very long time, and they were generally good tips. Over the course of 3 months, they got 15,000 views, just trickling up through suggested videos mostly, just a little bit every month. And then I woke up one morning to see I had a bunch of comments on it, and it gained another 15,000 views in the course of about 3 days, I believe. And I checked my analytics when they caught up, and it was homepage. So putting together all the information that I knew and finally having a good example of it on my channel allowed me to use the information that I already knew and piece it together with my own analytics and also discuss it with a manager over at Ritual, which is my MCN, and discuss if they've seen anything like this on Spanish YouTube, because they specialize in Spanish YouTube, and just kind of talking about stuff like that. And the conclusion that was come to is pretty much exactly what I had predicted, which is that what happened was I did the tags really well, I did the description really well, but it's not a title that gets searched very well, just by its nature. There's not really much that can be done about that specifically. However, it didn't have any view velocity, which is the speed at which you get the initial amount of views, which is what premieres are for, by the way, for increasing view velocity. That's why premieres work really well. And that will help you get promoted. So the view velocity had very low view velocity because my channel is very small and doesn't get many views on videos daily. Most of my views come from old things getting popular over a long period of time. That's why my channel had very few views on the average video, but a lot of videos with a lot of views. A lot of views, like I had like 30, 40 videos, well over 100,000 views, which is atypical for the average video. This is before Pokemon challenges on my channel. So it built up slowly, and then a switch flicked because it had built up enough metadata to understand what the video probably is, and so it started tentatively putting it on homepages of people who had been searching for Civilization 6 just a little bit, and then those people would click it, and if they liked it and they watched the whole thing, it'd promote it to more homepages, because that's how the homepage works. And because the video was of quality, and it was especially short, and so they were willing to watch the whole thing, those people were very, very receptive to it after clicking on it, and it had a very good thumbnail. And so it started to pick up speed and pick up speed and pick up speed, and gained a lot of views very quickly after that point. It sat for 3 months doing almost nothing, and then got very big on homepage. So when fast forward a couple years, I'm starting my Pokemon challenges. I put up the first one, and I'm already working on the next 2. I already am working the second one, and I know what the third one's going to be. First one was Pokemon Blue with 1 Rattata. Second was Pokemon Crystal with 1 Sunkern, the lowest stats Pokemon in the franchise. And the third one was one Magikarp in Pokemon Fire Red, with items in battle were allowed for that one. Items in battle were not allowed for the Sunkern one. And I did those first three. And by the time that I was working on the Magikarp one, the first two had almost no views. They had like 2,000 or something. So like, that I wasn't doing this just to be popular, because I had made about $1 off those two combined, something like that, by the time that I was already doing the insanity that is the Magikarp one. And the Sunkern one was harder than the Magikarp one in some ways. So I really was just doing this out of passion. However, I was telling any one of my friends that would listen and who was interested, I said, basically, because of the knowledge I already had accrued over the years by that point, and me having experience with my 7 great tips to improve at Civilization 6 video, I said, when I put up this Magikarp one, it is probably going to sit for about 2 to 3 months, picking up slight amounts of views here and there in the suggested videos of Pokemon stuff. And as it builds metadata within YouTube through those views, it'll suddenly explode onto homepage one day, and I predict it will get 200,000 views in the month that happens, or over the course of the next 30 days from that happens. Some people believed me and some people didn't. It turns out I was wrong. The amount of time from when the first Pokemon Challenge went up to when it blew up was 1.5 months, so I accidentally doubled the time. And I halved the view count because it blew up way more than expected. All 3 blew up by proxy at the same time, and I was getting hundreds of thousands of views across all of them. If I check right now, the Rattata one has 500,000 views. The Sunkern one has 750,000 views. And the Magikarp one is just about to hit 1 million views.
Jesus.
The Wobbuffet one is over 1 million. The Pikachu one in Platinum is over 1 million. I have my biggest one. Can I beat Pokemon Emerald without healing at Poke Centers? 1,348,000 views. That hit 1 million in under 1 month from going up, which reached one of my 5 goals I set for before I turned 28 in the first month of the year. No, first 2 weeks, I think, of being 28 years old.
Wait, didn't it hit before you actually turned?
Right, no, it hit right before I turned 28. I think it was like right before, right after. I premiered it on September 7th. My birthday was on the 22nd, so it would have hit 1 million the week of my birthday, I think.
Right.
So so before I turned 27, I met a goal that I was trying to reach before I was 28. And so those are doing well. In December, I plan on doing 4 crazy big ones, with one of them being another no healing at Poke Center challenge.
Talking about targets, I actually hit my target for Halloween on the 21st of October. Sure, it's nothing crazy like 1 million views before you're 28, but I just wanted one of my reboot videos, or post-reboot videos, to hit 1,000 views, and it did on the 21st rather than the 31st. So I'm pretty happy with that. It's not getting any crazy views, but it was just, I wanted to get somewhere, and that was a good step for me. It's still, the channel's basically new again, so I don't think I'm getting many of my old subscribers back, which, is fine.
I've gotten 2 different cameos on Game Theory now.
Yeah, I did actually. I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, so this is something that I want to say, because so many people on the internet have these weird misconceptions about him. Matthew Patrick, Matt Pat from Game Theory, is a really cool guy. He's a really nice, caring individual.
He seems it.
People seem to have this idea of him that he's some kind of crazy egotist. He's fucking not. He is a really good person. He is very good to his employees. He's very nice to people in person and online. He is incredibly caring with fans, taking time to sign autographs for every last person, not for his own ego. He'll fucking miss flights and shit. Like, he puts himself out there so much to try and help people in a really good way. I have a friend who works for Matt Pat, and Matt Pat told him that he wants him to, when he's in a video using examples of YouTubers on screen, put up-and-coming YouTubers in there. Put Easter eggs to up-and-coming YouTubers, help them grow. Use the power for good. That is such a selfless thing that almost no massive YouTubers like him do. And that is such an incredibly kind and selfless thing to do because it doesn't help him at all. He just does it because he wants to help other channels. He's a completely selfless person that I respect greatly.
Especially for good quality channels like yourself.
And
so yeah, you should totally tell your friend to nudge some views my way.
Yeah.
just kidding.
But what was I gonna say? Right. So another thing of context for anyone who hasn't heard of me, when I say that I understand how the analytics work and how the tagging works in description and title and how YouTube's algorithms for different things, I understand them on how they work more than most channels. I would say more than 95% of channels. There's a few who understand them even better than me. One of those probably being MatPat. MatPat is
he
one of...
did that that was his job before YouTube.
Yes.
Basically.
And now there's a lot of people who have that job. Obviously, they don't work with YouTube, but MatPat is a scholar of the algorithm, and I think that MatPat does know more than me about that. I would love to sit down with him one day and talk algorithm, because I think we could work out a lot of stuff, but mostly I think it'd be me learning from him, because he is probably the most knowledgeable guy about that outside of YouTube themselves, who keep that very, very secret. But for some context on how well I've done and how I read the comments, I figure out what people want by reading the comments and reading their suggestions, and I understand how the comments work and the algorithms work, and to promote comments this way by being respectful to people, by telling them that it's good for the algorithm. It's become a meme now, and people like doing it, where I do the fossil gag, where I say what fossil I get, and I say every time, I say what fossil we get, because if I didn't, you'd all ask. Actually, ask anyway, it's good for the YouTube algorithm. And it's a running gag that I say that every single run where there's a fossil, even if the fossil's out of the way, and even on videos that it's not in, they'll all comment saying, man, I just wish you'd told us where the fossil was. And because they want to support the channel. It's a fun joke, and it lets them support the channel, because I understand how viewers are. I'm a fan of so many YouTube channels. I want to support them. If all it takes is me leaving a like and a comment helps them in the algorithm, hell yeah, I'll do it. I comment on YouTube channels all over YouTube. And being a passionate viewer, I understand what they like doing too. They want to be a part of the show. And so I put their comments on screen on the show. I tell them, hey, you're the one, shout us to this guy. He's the one who recommended this challenge idea, stuff like that. Because I want them to be part of the show, not just to promote me, but because as a viewer, I'd want to be a part of the show. That's fun. And so I understand these things to a really good degree. And I think if there's anything that would make someone listening to this who's not familiar with me understand on a math level that I understand this stuff and that I know what I'm doing, about a month ago, when my Can I Beat Pokemon Emerald without healing at Poke Centers challenge, my biggest one, when that was really, really, really blowing up, which is my all-time peak of my channel, so about a month ago, was my biggest success. That month, I gained a couple thousand more net gain subscribers than Game Theory did that month. I didn't beat them in views. I had about a quarter as many views as them. About that. But in subscriber growth, I beat them.
Pretty damn good.
That is astonishing. If I were to just start listing channels that I am beating in subscriber growth right now, you
could say Stalli 111.
Well, I double to quadruple Bob most months now, which is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, he's how many is he on? 350?
I think he just hit 300,000, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if he's already at 350, because he's doing so well. And this isn't me bragging and saying my channels are better than those people. I think that those people's channels' inconsistency levels are often better than mine. I think the Wolf Den is one of the best channels right now. If you're into that stuff, and I am, definitely. I think that the Wolf Den is a really, really wonderful channel. I think that Game Theory is a wonderful, wonderful channel. There's so many, and there's even channels that I know channels that have under 1,000 subscribers that I think are just fucking phenomenal. I know channels that don't grow much, but they get such consistent views because they're so good. Like an example of that would be Red Letter Media, where they grow very little in subscribers, but they get almost 1 million views on every single video because every single video is so unbelievably fucking well made. And they're astonishingly good. Or Accursed Farms. You guys might know him from, he did Mind of Freeman, an old viral machinima series forever ago, where it was Half-Life 1, and the guy was voicing over the internal monologue of the main character, and it was like goofy and really well done. He also does reviews called Ross's Game Dungeon. That is one of my absolute favorite things on the internet. It is my favorite review show. He only gains like 3,000 subscribers a month, and he should be fucking quadrupling me. They're so goddamn good. Like, it is unbelievable how good his show is. Of just a guy so witty and charismatic and funny. He can do obscure German-only video games from the early 90s on the PC, and it will be as entertaining as when he reviews a new thing. And he can go on a 15-minute tangent about something that has nothing to do with the game, and you will not click off because you are so fascinated by this guy. There is no one on Earth...
That's a gift.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is he works because he is him, and there is no one on Earth like Ross from Game Dungeon. He from Accursed Farms on YouTube. Like, there's nobody on Earth who is anything like this man. He is a completely unique human being. And I think that's why I've garnered this audience over these years, is that no one seems to be exactly like me. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
no, I think that's good.
I have never heard anyone say that I'm anything like anyone else. I am my own unique brand of weird. But I seem to get along with everybody. That's the weird thing, is I guess I'm love me or hate me, but I've never actually had a vocal conversation with someone who ended up hating me. I win people over.
Well, to change that, my son.
Yeah, I guess I'm just going to have to say something that makes you hate me now. I don't even know what I could say.
I don't know either.
Yeah, honestly. Everyone just gets mad about politics nowadays, but off camera we were talking about that and we seem to get along fine, so who cares?
Yeah.
That's the thing too, is like I have friends from all across the political spectrum, and they still like me, even though like...
As long as you can be civil about it, it's...
Well, that's the thing, is I have some friends who aren't civil about politics and are like... And like, I have a few people who are like, aren't super close friends, and they aren't civil about politics, and they're willing to just like disparage people online for having different politics as them. And yet for some reason in private, they get along great with me, even though they probably would reconsider even associating with me in public, just because I disagree with them on some things, but I don't hold it against them at all that they disagree with me on that. And yet for some reason in private, it's almost as if, stop me if you've heard this before, maybe people who talk about politics really strongly on the internet don't actually care about it as much as they say they do, and they actually just want to look really good to their friends. Stop me if you've heard that one before, but maybe there's a little bit of just showing off going on, and people are a little bit more accepting of differences than they think.
Definitely.
My wife and I didn't even vote for the same person. We don't care. We were making jokes about it.
Well, you know, we've covered quite a large spectrum in our conversation, but lastly, I just have to talk to you. This is a horrible tangent. This is a horrible segue. I have to talk to you about Pokemon Sword and Shield before we finish up, because you know it's coming out later this month, and
soon, so soon, under 2 weeks.
Yeah, very soon. Yeah.
Wow.
It's the 15th.
Yeah, 15th. That's like a week and a half from when we're recording this. Next Friday. Yeah. God, I'm gonna be streaming that like crazy.
Yeah, well, one of the things I want to know is, are you going to be making a Pokemon challenge as soon as that drops?
No, I'm going to do a casual playthrough on stream first. All of that will go up on my YouTube after. It'll be live streamed on my Twitch TV page, link in the description of all my videos, all that crap. And then I'm going to do a challenge, because I want to be able to enjoy it casually first. And I think people will be understanding about that.
Why don't you get Sword and Shield and play through Sword casually, and Shield you could do your own thing?
No point, because you can have multiple save files by just having multiple profiles on your Switch. So Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yep. I just got informed of that earlier today by my friend Whatageek. Everybody go check out Whatageek on YouTube. It is a really, really good channel. I've been friends with him for nearly a decade. Really good channel. It's just starting to blow up now because we do a Pokemon randomizer challenge. A Pokemon randomizer let's play on it. We've done a couple, and people are really starting to like that because I've been promoting them on my Pokemon challenges. But like, I think before we started doing that, he had like 2,000 subscribers or something built up over many, many, many years. He's just a really, really funny guy who's been on my channel forever doing let's plays with me. But if he informed me of that idea of you can make multiple profiles to have multiple save files. And so I'm just getting Shield. I've got it pre-ordered because my friend AJ from Fanatics 4, he works with me and Bob and Dan all the time. We do Minecraft together and stuff. He's getting Sword, so I'm getting Shield, and we're going to do some stuff together, and it'll be fun.
Do you know anything about like if there's like cooperative stuff? I know there's you can get the multiplayer bit where you can like there's like a farm or something.
There's a bunch of multiplayer mechanics outside of the typical, trade and battle, There's a bunch of new multiplayer stuff, and I don't know what any of it is because I've barely kept up with any Sword and Shield news or leaks.
I want to try and, like, I know what it is. It's an open world Pokemon game that is like a 3D open world Pokemon game.
You might know more than me.
This was the game that I wanted at Switch's launch. This was the game that I wanted for the Switch. Hopefully it turns out to be as good as it looks. There are some bumps around the edges, but it's not going to be Breath of the Wild, but it could be pretty damn fun. Just sitting on the couch, playing on the big screen, a mainstream Pokemon. Sure, we had Let's Go, but that,
that was really cool for what it was, but obviously it wasn't the main. Cool, it was a spin-off.
It didn't feel new enough.
Yeah,
so to speak.
It's a beautiful rendition of Gen 1.
Yeah. But I'm really looking forward to Sword and Shield. I'm probably gonna get Sword when that drops. But obviously, we've got to talk about the National Dex problem that loads of people have been having, and well. We've actually had a little bit of a conversation about the National Dex and a little bit, not crazy depth, but how it could potentially be solved in a canonical manner. I don't know if you've thought about it anymore, but I honestly really like the idea that we sort of came up with about either the island or something to do with either like Isle of Man or Isle of part of Ireland or something. Mm-hmm. As sort of this new area that has less restriction on Pokemon, and having the reason behind Pokemon in is it the Galar region? Yeah, I think is something to do with, well, one, it could be much like a lot of Scotland, is there's a lot of animals that can't come here because of the climate. Mm-hmm. And it could be something to do with that. And Britain has a very unusual climate that can be a bit volatile at times. So, it could be something like that. Or it could be something to do with specific, again, much like the grey squirrel in Scotland. It was introduced from America, and it's trying to kill off, well, naturally, the red squirrel. In Scotland, and well, maybe people don't want to introduce these new Pokemon to end up hunting one of the natural Pokemon in this area. Or it could be something like, I don't know, a specific, like, what's the terminology I'm looking for? Like, it's there's a restriction in transit between different areas. Yeah. Where specific Pokemon aren't allowed in, or there could be like a lockdown, no Pokemon in or out.
There's Sorry, just immediately. Of course, this is what my brain immediately goes to. There's a lockdown. Yes, this is actually some kind of grand twist of the Pokemon universe where when they introduce like another island you go to, it's like, oh, why has it been locked down? Why has it been locked down? It's actually the Pokemon equivalent of Northern Ireland. And the twist is that this takes place back during the Troubles. And it's on lockdown because it's so fucking ungodly dangerous. Like, there's just Voltorbs and coughings exploding in the streets, like cars are going off. When you get there immediately, like you see like a family mourning someone getting blown up by the IRA. Can we make that Pokemon game? Can that be canon?
I mean, well, let's go to Japan. Let's go to Game Freak and pitch it to them.
There you go. So we walk in. Have you heard of the Troubles?
I mean, there's the whole Pokemon War that I don't actually know too much about.
Me neither. I don't know much about Pokemon lore, but I know that there was a war, and I know nothing about it.
Like, I only know, like, about there was a war and a little bit from the anime, but not enough. It's a really interesting concept to me. So I'd like it to be more obviously explored in the games. But what if there is still, like, elsewhere on another continent, the war still going on between Pokemon, and some of these newer, like the new Pokemon that are being introduced to us are newly tamed creatures from the volatile, the very very in nature, the war of Pokemon. I know that the actual war of Pokemon was between trainer and trainer, I think.
I don't know. I just want a bunch of special versions of Pokemon that already exist that are from Northern Ireland, and they're like missing eyes, and some have like rifles and stuff. Like there's a coughing that's just a grenade.
I mean, I don't know if it's gonna happen. It's not gonna hit that.
A Snorlax is just eating potatoes.
Maybe that work.
There you go. And then if they add the Republic of Ireland, then you can have the potato famines. So you can have skinny Snorlax. Oh my God! I should work for Game Freak. Like?
Yeah, we're coming up with great ideas here.
Yep. Yours are great and mine are just offensive.
I mean, it teaches a little bit about history.
Yeah, yeah.
That's something I'd really want out of Galar. Some historical value out of... Well, it's obviously inspired by Britain.
I wonder if you have a bias.
I mean, every Pokemon game, I want to like the... Oh, fuck, what's the name of the... I can't remember the name of the region. It's the one that's based on Paris. Or, I think, it's just France.
I don't remember the name of that. I never played Gen 6. It's the only gen I've literally never played.
And obviously, the islands within the first few generations are based on real islands of similar or same names in Japan.
Yeah, the first 4 are Japan, 5 is New York, 6 is Paris, 7's Hawaii.
And then 8's obviously Britain.
Yeah, is it like all of Great Britain? Is there going to be like one town you go to in the north where like everybody's shanking each other and it's like everyone's headbutting and shanking each other and it's like, oh, I see we've gone to Glasgow, like
hopefully.
And if you're like in the far south, it's just like hoity-toity tea drinkers, but then you go down to the other end of town and it's just like you have to like wade through the hip deep broken glass to get to the pub where everyone's brawling, like
I mean, I'm not sure it's going to be that stereotypical. Maybe
it's going to be beautiful. Like you had to go down to like the waterfront and there's all the dock workers everywhere. And like the dock workers are speaking in such broken English that like you can't read it. Like you need to get a translator to be able to figure out what the dock workers are saying. Yeah. Like,
I mean, that's a bit realistic.
Yeah, exactly. See, this is the thing is I know enough about modern day and historical Great Britain that I can actually make jokes based around this.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I've mentioned to you already is I'd like, even if they added in new Pokemon via little quests that resemble like fairy tales or like just British myth. Like I mentioned to you about the the St. George's Dragon whole tale of that, and it could be like a introduction of a very popular dragon type Pokemon that everybody wants in the game but isn't in the game. So they bring it in for this quest where you've got to look for different clues, and then you finally found the one at the very end of it, the one only version of, I don't know, Dragonite or whatever the Pokemon that they pick. Probably Dragonite, considering how popular it is. But yeah, that's the only version in the game in the Galar region. And, you know, they can get creative with how it got there, or it could be just it was there all this time, much like the dragon in the tale. And there used to be a few more, but they were hunted down and blah, 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 you know? And now this is the last one. You can either kill it with your Pokemon or faint it, or you can catch it.
It can be from this mystical side land in the area that's never been journeyed to before, that nobody even knows if everyone's been there. I think it's called Wales.
God damn it.
That's where all the Marique once every 15 years, someone would emerge from Wales, and it's usually just a professional wrestler, because I don't know what it is and the quantity of professional wrestlers out of Wales, but I can only assume that, like, because no one's ever been to Wales, I can only assume that in Wales it's mountains, sheep, and because they need to fight over who gets to herd what sheep or something, anytime two humans in Wales meet each other, they have to fight for the sheep. And so everybody that comes out of Wales is just a really good grappler. That's the only thing I can think of why so many Welsh people have become pro wrestlers and nothing else. The only other Welsh person that I can think of right now that has been anywhere in all of media is like Tom Jones, which in fairness is the best Welshman ever, but like...
I mean, there's a few big footballers, but yeah.
No.
Tom Jones is kind of...
It's Tom Jones, who was the soundtrack of my childhood and my adulthood. I work out to Tom Jones at least once a week.
Damn.
Yeah. Fucking right. Tom Jones is the man. I bet you half the audience didn't even know he's Welsh, because he doesn't sound Welsh when he's singing. When he's singing, he kind of sounds American.
I mean, Lewis Capaldi's Scottish. He does, like, when I first heard him sing, I thought he was like Sam Mendes or something. Sam Mendes, is that the right guy?
I find a lot of people who sing in English sound vaguely American. Like Lemmy from Motorhead sounded American when he was singing, but not when he was speaking at all.
Sam Mendes is the filmmaker, god damn it. Who am I thinking of? Shawn Mendes. I'm supposed to be a film student or film graduate, and I fucked that up.
Sean Maluda,
yeah. Fuck it.
Talented wrestler. I like him.
So yeah.
Not Welsh.
You're obviously looking forward to Pokemon Sword and Shield. Maybe as much as... I'm not sure.
Obviously not sure. I'm very interested. I'm excited for what YouTubers are going to come out with on it. I think that there's going to be a lot of fun content for me to watch. I'm sure there's going to be fun content for me to make, but first and foremost, I am a fan, and so I look forward to playing the games. I look forward to sharing it with everybody by streaming it. Totally. I look forward to hanging out with the chat and hearing everyone talk about the Pokemon they caught and trading it with people on the stream and playing it with my friends again, like when I was a kid. Like, I want to have that magical experience.
Pokemon after the chat.
Yeah, exactly. Naming my Pokemon after the chat, which is what I love to do. I haven't had that like magical playing with my friends experience since 3rd generation. That was a really, really long time ago. And so I really look forward to being able to do that again.
To be fair, I feel like the 3rd gen was the best.
I don't have a favorite gen.
Emerald is just amazing.
Emerald is amazing, but so is Crystal. Crystal having all of Kanto blew my fucking mind. Like, Gold and Silver as well by Crystal. Minds were blown when that came out and all of Kanto was in it. And, like, you didn't know when you got the game that all of Kanto was in it. You just beat the Elite Four. You beat Lance, the Pokemon champion. You think that's it. And then Elm calls you. He says, like, the end. You get the credits roll. It says the end. Elm calls you and he's like, oh, here's a ticket on the SSN. You're like, what? The SSN? so you fly over to Olivine, you go on a ship, you do like a little mini quest, you get a mirror coat, and you're like, oh, this is how you get the Scizor or the Steelix. Those were cool, highly promoted Pokemon. And then you arrive in Vermilion, and it's playing that, like, really, I never remember if it's Vermilion or Viridian, the name, but you arrive in that city, and it's got that song playing, and you're like, oh my god. And you write around, all of Kanto is there. All of Kanto is there. Holy shit. Like, it's hard for Pokemon challenges because it's longer, but Kanto's really not that Kanto's really not that long if you know exactly what to do. Because once you've got it down to a science, I mean, the Pokemon gym leaders there aren't any stronger than the Elite Four. So you can beat them all really easily, either than Blue, the 8th gym leader, who's pretty hard. And then you get to Red, and he's the secret final boss, and he's one of the hardest Pokemon battles in any Pokemon game. So Gen 2 was really wonderful too. Gen 1 has a lot of nostalgia and a lot of cool vibes to it in a lot of interesting ways, but it's horrifically programmed. And that's the main problem with it. Like, every time you watch me do a Pokemon challenge in Gen 1, I love it, but I'm ripping on it the whole time because, like, it is horrifically glitchy. The AI is horrible. Like, there's a lot of sprites are really ugly. There's a lot of funny shit with it. Like, you'll never do a battle with Blaine, who's a gym leader, a mandatory fight, where he doesn't try to use a super potion on a Pokemon with full health. He does it every time. Like, it's beautiful. Like, it's just loaded with shit like that.
I mean, that's kind of good for you.
You know how you beat Lance in that game really easily? Use a poison type. Poison's not good against dragons, so you'd wonder, why use a poison type? Because the AI, most of his dragons, in fact, almost his whole team, has the move Agility. Raises your speed by two stages, and it's Psychic type. The AI does not realize that this is not an attacking move. All it sees is that it has a Psychic move and you're poison, so it spams it. It will keep using Agility even after its speed is maxed out. You can beat most of Lance's team, presumably with like a level 5 Weedle. If you wanted to, he won't fight back.
I mean, it'd take a while, but yeah.
You know, if you have a Pokemon that levels up by Stone, I believe it is, and you switch it out for an Onix who then levels up during the battle, the Stone Pokemon will evolve. Oh. I'd never even heard of that one until I was talking to John Stone a couple weeks ago, and he told me about that one, so maybe I got that one slightly wrong. Maybe it was like trade Pokemon, I don't know.
Right.
But there's just some beautiful, wacky glitches.
Did you ever actually physically trade with people? Because I never did that.
As a kid, a bit, yeah. Mostly with family members, but we did have a trade cable.
Right. I mean, I think I had a trade cable, but like it came with my Game Boy, but I never did anything.
Yeah, I traded with my sister. I traded with my uncle, my uncle is only 6 years older than us, so 6 years older than me, 3 years older than my sister. So like there wasn't much of an age gap. We were all playing Pokemon at the same time, so we'd trade stuff. Right. Yeah, I would trade a reasonable amount, but it wasn't like a weekly thing. It was a few times a year. I would have a big trading and battling spree with a few people.
I mean, I kind of wish that I did.
Well, you're going too soon. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. There's going to be all kinds of stream stuff.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I did do some trading on the 3DS games, but I'm more talking about like the physical cables and whatnot.
Back in our day, you actually had a physical cable you plugged in between the two Game Boys because they didn't have Wi-Fi yet. That wasn't a thing. It wasn't until the Game Boy Advance, which had an adapter that did not Wi-Fi, but the
Bluetooth.
It was kind of like a Bluetooth. It was a little adapter you put on the top, and it could connect to another one of the same adapter. It was basically just a wireless link cable. It would only be doing linking between games that have multiplayer support on Game Boy Advance. It wasn't until the DS that it could actually connect to the internet. And the DS can't even connect to the internet anymore because it only connected to like WS1 or something, some very outdated security protocol that routers and modems don't use anymore. So it just rejects DSs now. 3DS still fully supports online though. That's the newest one that fully supports proper internet online. And then there's the Switch, which is just fucking cool.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I really like
really
my Switch. Like it's over there right now in its dock. I have it connected to my capture card so I can play it on my monitor. I can pick it up and play it in bed or on the couch. I have a Pro controller in my hands right now, and it is very comfortable. I really like this console.
I don't have a Pro controller.
I recommend it. I am mostly a PlayStation 4 controller guy. It just fits the shape of my hands really well. I've never liked the Xbox controller that much, and so I was worried I wouldn't like the Nintendo Switch one because it has the joysticks laid out like an Xbox controller. Yeah. It's very, very comfortable in a way that is very different from the PlayStation. Oh, does it not? Does it have...
It's the opposite.
Okay. Maybe that's why it's comfortable to me. My thumbs... I have kind of stubby thumbs, and so there's something uncomfortable to me about having my right thumb on a control stick that's like on the top right. I like it being on the bottom. I thought it would bug me that the joystick on the Switch controller, on the Switch Pro controller, is the top on the left and the pad is on the bottom, especially because I usually use the pad in games whenever I can. I'm not a big joystick user. Analog stick. God, I sound so fucking old when I say joystick, don't I? Because that's like arcades. I'm only 27. It's just look, I grew up in a village. Anyway.
People can understand what you're on about.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I grew up in my first 9.5 years of life were in a village on a dirt road. Anyway, so I don't know. It's very, very comfortable in a way that I can't properly describe. It feels like it fits my hand shape so perfectly. And I don't have small hands. I have just normal size hands. It's just my thumbs are kind of short. But it's so comfortable and it grips perfectly. Like, I don't know. I don't know what controller I like more because the PlayStation 4 controller was my favorite controller. I found it very comfortable. I think I like the Switch Pro controller just as much, but in different ways that I can't really describe why. They're both fantastic controllers. I really recommend both of them.
I mean, I might pick it up, but it is a bit expensive.
It is. Have you ever held one?
I've not.
Someday, if you ever have a friend or a coworker with one, just play on it for 10, 15 minutes with some Smash or something and see if you like it. And you'll probably it's one of those things where it's an intangible. Like you put your hands on it and right away, your thumbs and fingers just go naturally where they should be. And you're like, this feels really good. And you don't know why. It just feels good.
I was actually wrong about the configuration because I was just looking at my Xbox controller and I didn't see the Switch controller. I just thought it was the right analog stick was up as well.
Okay,
but it is just exactly the same as the Xbox.
Yeah, I can't
controller.
explain it then because I've had Xbox controllers that I've held before at friends' places, and I always found them very uncomfortable. Everything felt very spread out. The finger travel time was very far. I know part of it with the Xbox 360 controller was that I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It's a degenerative joint condition. And so the indent on the thumbsticks for that controller was at just the right angle that I would have to bend my thumb in just a little bit of an awkward way that it would cause a lot of tension in that joint over time. That no other controller has ever done to me. Even though the Pro controller and the PS4 controller both have a little bit of an indent, it's in a way that feels much more comfortable. It's less deep, and it's much wider, the indent. There's room for my whole thumbprint in there almost. And so it just, at least the bulk of the pad of the thumb, the meat of it. The center of it, that fits in it perfectly. And so I feel like I have a lot of control over it. It doesn't cause any discomfort or pain in my hands. And that's important for me right now, especially because I have to mash a lot in Pokemon. And so carpal tunnel is something to really consider. I do a lot of wrist stretches to make sure I don't get carpal tunnel. Because, you
got it. Especially when you're doing challenge after challenge every week.
Yeah, speedrunners get carpal tunnel from mashing. That's a common problem that they do wrist exercises for. I speedrun a little. I speedrun Silent Hill 2, but that's a very easy speedrun. Silent Hill 2 on PC is just a hilarious glitchy run. It's really funny, which is why I love doing it. It's simple and it's funny. But that has a lot of mashing, mostly with the index finger. You could remap it to anything, I guess, but typically runners do R1 for your save button because pretty much every major glitch really in Silent Hill 2 speedrunning is based around the quick save feature, which is a PC only feature. Basically, the gist of it is every PC only feature in Silent Hill 2 has a major glitch associated with it, because I believe the QA playtesting time for the PC port is they had to rush it out in like 3 weeks or something absurdly fast like that. So they didn't have time to hammer out the bugs. So you can just skip massive parts of the game by like quick saving at certain points, or like there's a quick weapon swap button, and if you do it while you're in the middle of a recovery animation, you recover instantly. So like there's this little part where you had to jump in an empty pool to go pick up an item. And normally when James, your character, walks off the ledge, he lands and he's like, for like a second and a half, 2 seconds, he's like getting back up. If you hit the quick swap button as your legs hit the ground, your legs just kind of jut up into your chest and fling out sideways, and then you're running normal again. It's beautiful. You can skip cutscenes just by mashing quick save. When you walk through, if you're mashing quick save while text is on screen, then the text never disappears and it'll never load cutscenes, and you can just run through them. There's certain areas where it doesn't even save you time, but if it's like an in-game cutscene and you hit quick save, you can suddenly control again and just run around in circles during a cutscene looking like an idiot. There's like a part near the end of the game where you're supposed to get jump scared by like a piano going off, and then it takes controls from you and you're staying there for a second, and then it cuts over and it shows this little girl behind the piano just trying to scare you. But if you hit quick save as soon as the piano goes off, you can still run, so you can run behind the piano and start shotgunning it and see that no one's there, and then she spawns. I don't know how I got off on this tangent, but everybody go look up Silent Hill 2 PC speedruns. They're really fucking funny, and they're very easy to learn. I learned how to beat the game in under an hour in like less than a month, I think.
Damn.
How
many runs did that take?
Like 5 or 6. It wasn't bad at all, and I had a lot of fun with it. I'll go back to it one day. I haven't done a run in like 8 months or something. I just did it for fun. I wanted to be able to...
Yeah, of course.
It was just a goal-setting thing again. I'm really big on goals nowadays, because my last year was my first year of setting goals, and I reached all of them. And the pie in the sky one was 100,000 subscribers. And I started at 51,000 at that time. And I was at 61,000, and it was coming up close. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to reach that one, but that's fine. That was my ridiculous one. And then my Pokemon challenges took off, and I beat it. Now I'm about to hit 200,000 when we're recording this. I'm at 190,000.
I mean, big congrats.
Thank you.
Like it's like these Pokemon challenges are bringing up the entire channel a little bit.
It's bringing up the whole Pokemon community to some degree. It's crazy.
Well, that too.
I've had so many people. So many small YouTubers have started YouTube channels doing Pokemon challenges, and they always shout me out like I'm the spearhead of a movement, and it's unbelievable. Like, and that's not me. That's not me bragging. I didn't mean to do that. That's an accident. But I'm so happy I did it, and I want to encourage people to keep doing that, because I want to see you guys start to pick up steam, and then do whatever you want to do as long as you're passionate about it. And, if you want to branch off into other things, branch off into other things. Let this be your start, because this is a really good way to start if Pokemon challenges are something that you love. Don't do it because you think it'll be popular. Do it because you love it, and just know that now is a great time to do it. Now is a time where it will particularly help. You'll get in my suggested videos, and you'll do well. Other channels are growing like they've never grown before. Channels have started up, and their first video has been a Pokemon challenge, has been doing really well. I'm not the first guy to do it, but mine have been really blowing up, and it's been growing it as a whole genre. I will always say massively. That I was introduced to the genre by Picaspri, and later JRose11, and that I shout them out in the first 10 seconds of my first video, just like everyone's been doing with me. So it's, again, don't let people call you a ripoff. Even if they're calling you an MDB ripoff, I always tell them to knock that shit off, because you're not a ripoff of me. You're doing your own thing. It's simply in the same genre as me, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Any of you listening to me who's doing Pokemon challenges, don't let those comments get you down. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Just do it. If you're having fun with it, do it. And even if it doesn't get popular, keep doing it. If it's fun, then don't let that stop you.
Totally. Like, that was how I did YouTube before Shoddycast, pretty much. Everything was purely out of passion. Like, it was just a hobby.
Yeah.
But as soon as it became a bit of a job,
it gets stressful.
It became more of a chore. And totally. And I didn't want to get back into that. I was completely burnt out. And I tried to get back into Stalli 111, but I just couldn't get to that place. But I think I'm ready now. And hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, hope it does well.
I'm doing the occasional video. I still got to work. I've still got to do other stuff, but I'm doing the occasional video on my main channel. I'm gonna do these podcasts as well because they're relatively easy to do, and it's fun. Just to have a chat. And we brought up Bob quite a few times. I'd like to have him on too.
I'm sure he'll probably agree to. I don't know if Josh will. I don't know how active he is online with anything internet. I think Bob will do it.
Right. Well, I just want to talk to a bunch of different creators and talk about their experiences, and you've been very forthcoming today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know it's only the second episode into the series, the season, but it's the longest episode I've had.
Welcome to any conversation with me.
And for those of you at home listening, we had another 45-minute conversation before we started recording.
Yeah, this might tell people to budget an extra hour when you're talking to me. Is just I can talk forever.
I mean, I'm not complaining. Yeah. Podcasts, you're perfect for a podcast, just to go off in tangents and Also, go check out his streams because I think he's one of the better streamers out there.
Thanks.
Because of how he can just talk about everything.
Yeah, and I read the chat a lot. My favorite. The reason I stream is because I get to read the chat and talk back and forth.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, that's why I started.
Exactly the same for me. The communication, the community, that's what I want. Mm-hmm. And when it is active, it feels amazing.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
To be able to talk to these people and play a game and interact with them, maybe have them as a character in the game, and they can affect your decisions, and it's a whole community coming together. And when it does work, when there is enough people, when it's not just you and an empty void, because that's the worst, when it's just there's a couple of people viewing but there's nobody in chat, that's definitely the worst for me. But when the community does come together, it feels amazing, and it feels like a proper community, and that's probably one of my most favorite moments of doing YouTube and streaming and all that. It's just when it works, and so check out mah-dry-bread on Twitch and check out me, Stalli111. Stalli 111.
Yeah, and everybody go check out Viznamatic on YouTube. I will promote that tiny ass fucking awesome channel every chance I get, and it's not just because I'm on it. I've been a fan of it since before I was on it. It's of a bunch of mostly people from the Turbo Club of Video Games Awesome from back in the day, who just want to do their own show and have fun with it, and we've been having fun with it for a long time, and you'd be blown the fuck away at how good the Let's Play shit is on that channel, and how goddamn hilarious everyone is. I will defend it to the day I die. That channel is awesome. It should have more views. It's just not very marketable because it's random variety Let's Play stuff. Go check it out. Mr. Chris Mad is one of the best fucking editors I've ever seen in my life. He makes goddamn creative, hilarious shit all the time. Go watch the Friday the 13th video that just came out on there, because he even did his own custom Friday 13th-esque intro for the beginning. You've never seen this kind of production quality out of a Let's Play show before, and it's awesome. And Chris likes me because he says that when I'm in a video, it's a day off because I never shut up. So he doesn't even need to talk. It's wonderful.
I mean, I can say the same thing.
Yay!
But right, before we head off, do you want to plug any future projects? Obviously, you're doing Pokemon challenges, but you got anything that you want to raise awareness of?
I am going to be streaming tons of Pokemon Shield when it comes out. So November 15th onward, I'm just going to be streaming it tons over my Twitch TV page. Not quite every day, but lots. And it'll all be going up on my YouTube channel after. And in December, there are 4 Saturdays in December, and I'm getting a bit ahead of schedule on the Pokemon challenges. I want to try and do 4 really big challenges that month. Right now, it's looking like one of them is going to be a very requested Goofy one, which is using only Metronome the whole game. So I just grab a handful of Clefairies and use Metronome every battle, which is a move that picks random moves, and we'll just see what chaos unfolds. It'll be a Goofy run.
That can be quite fun.
Pokemon Emerald with only one Shedinja, which is a Pokemon with 1 health. That'll just be another crazy one. It's really difficult. I know my friend Brandon did it once, but he unlisted his video because he was sick of the YouTube comments, calling him a ripoff of me, even though he's been my best friend since high school and he's been on my channel for years, but whatever. So I'm going to do that one. I want to do a no Pokemon Center run, probably of Fire Red, I think. I think that'll be a really fun one because the pickup strategy doesn't really work so well in that one, and you couldn't even get it until later anyway. And then I don't know what the 4th one is going to be yet. After this, I want to go read a bunch of comments on my new vlog I just put out where I ask people for suggestions. But one I'm considering is Brandon actually pitched me an idea that I will leave a mystery right now that I'm definitely doing at some point because it sounds really, really, really fun. But it might take a long time to do. I don't know. So I don't know if I'll have that one done for December, or maybe one of you guys in the comments will come up with a better suggestion. I don't know. So just know that December, I'm going to be doing really, really big Pokemon challenges. Now that I'm ahead of time enough that I think I can make December the big month for that. And starting November 15th, I'm going to be streaming a lot of Pokemon Shield if you want to see any of that. And go subscribe to What a Geek. And Viz Nomadic. Nomadic, not tick. You know, like nomads, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. Yeah, subscribe to anyone who we've mentioned in the podcast. Like Bob, anyone who we've mentioned.
Deceased Crab.
Quality.
Everybody go subscribe to Deceased Crab and say...
This is just turning into a shoutcast of us just shouting out names of channels we recommend.
Yeah.
We should just keep on going all night.
Everyone go subscribe to Deceased Crab and say, hey, someone who used to watch you obsessively when he was in elementary school says you're fucking awesome. Word for word. I want that to be the comment. I want you guys to I want 100 of you to all comment that on his newest video, and he'll be so confused because you won't even tell him the name of the guy. Oh, that's a good prank. Deceased Crab is awesome, though. I like him.
Definitely check out these people, and, make sure to drop a like, drop a comment, and subscribe if you've not done so already. Head over to MahDryBread's YouTube channel. I've already mentioned it, but obviously you've gotta. Link in the description, and I will see you on the next episode of Stalli's Teabreak, if not sooner, on my own channel, Stalli111. Bye-bye.
Until next time, have a nice day.